the Boston Celtics select Marcus Smart from Oklahoma State University.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video from Hoops Empire. In today's video, we're going to be discussing Marcus Smart and how his tenure in Boston could possibly be coming to an end soon. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're probably going to hit 1K in the coming days, so I just want to say thank you guys for sticking along through this past year or two. But this is only the start. I have something big planned for 1K, so stay tuned. Make sure to turn on that notification bell and like the video if you enjoy. So, let's get into it. Marcus Smart is the definition of a Boston Celtic. Since he was drafted with the 6th pick in the 2014 draft, he has been the embodiment of Celtic pride, the personification of hustle and grit. Sure, it hasn't always been smooth sailing, and the relationship between Marcus Smart and the Boston Celtics fandom can be love-hate. For one, Celtics fans should appreciate the loyalty Smart has shown. He is currently the longest tenured Celtic going into his 8th year, as well as being the 8th longest tenured player with one team in the entire NBA right now. This is an amazing feat, but goes to show the direction that this league is going. It's no coincidence that Smart has the playstyle he does, as well as the loyalty he shows. Marcus Smart is a dying breed. A breed of constant, high-energy, defensive-minded, loyal players. In the player empowerment era, players like this are almost non-existent, as Marcus being the 8th longest tenured player with one team as a 27-year-old. But with Marcus, you'd wish you could say you always knew what you're getting. Speaking Celtics fans have watched him every other night for the better part of the last decade. However, some nights you get Marcus Curry. Other nights you get Marcus with the confidence of Curry, but the shot making of, well, Marcus Smart. He has never been a great shooter, but by the sheer volume of shots that he takes, you'd think he was. He is a career 32% three-point shooter, including 3 of his 7 seasons being at 30% or worse. But this is just the hate portion of the love-hate relationship. The love is there, whether you admit it as a fan or not. He makes plays you'd never imagine possible, whether it's running cross-court to save a play, or a chase-down block, or making an insane no-look pass, seemingly with eyes in the back of his head, and much, much more. There is a bit of a question mark now, going into year 8, what direction Smart will be heading in with this team going forward. He is most likely going to be a part of this roster this season, but it very well could be his last year. Obviously, with all the free agency moves and trade acquisitions, the Celtics have nearly every player on payroll right now expiring next year, not named Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And that list includes Marcus Smart. So what is the plan with Smart? Let's break it down. Starting with the reports first, Marcus Smart is apparently looking for a 4-year, $80 million contract. Pretty much a similar deal to now Chicago Bull Lonzo Ball. With Bradley Beal in mind for Boston, $20 million per year would erase the possibility of Beal from the picture. Mark Murphy of the Boston Herald reported that the Celtics are offering a 4-year deal with an average of $17 million per. But again, even this deal would put the Celtics over the amount they can create but still get Bradley Beal in free agency. I cannot say it makes much sense. I think the team could go multiple better routes than paying Marcus Smart nearly $20 million per year. Maybe Brad Stevens agrees with that and wants to use that near $20 million salary in a possible sign-and-trade with the Wizards if Beal opts out of his contract. I have gone over it before, but to clarify, Beal is eligible for a roughly $42 million base salary with any new team, as he would be a 10-year veteran in the 2022-23 offseason. But using Smart's contract extension as a trade piece is the only logical explanation I can think of at this point. It just doesn't make all too much sense to me to extend Smart into his 30s at that amount of money, especially when you consider the play style that he has. So, what other options at point guard are even out there? Should the Celtics look at the trade market for another point? Should they consider re-signing Dennis Schroder, depending on the season he has? What about next year's free agency, if they strike out on a big name like Bradley Beal or Zach LaVine? There are a few names to look out for, but one possibility is a guy like Ricky Rubio. The whole point of roster construction on this team is getting players that help the Jays, and a guy like Rubio would do that better than most. He is one of the better playmakers in the NBA, and his style of dribble drive penetration and kickouts is perfect for the perimeter-oriented style of shot creation that both Tatum and Brown possess. There are plenty of other options, such as bringing in scary Terry Rozier back to Boston, snagging Goran Dragic off the market, or even bringing back Rajon Rondo for a second ride, and plenty of other options. Looking at the now, how does Marcus Smart fit on this team? Now with Dennis Schroder on the team, I don't think Marcus Smart is the best point guard on the Celtics. But I had actually made a tweet a few weeks back regarding smartness and his ability to playmake, and how I think it can actually seriously benefit this team, but specifically Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Breaking it down on here, over the last 3 seasons, Marcus Smart has had a higher assist rate each season, going from 4 assists per game in 2018 to 5 assists per game in 2019 and nearly 6 assists last year. But now, with Kemba Walker off the team and more opportunity to playmake, I could legitimately see Smart averaging close to 7 or 8 assists per contest if given the reins as a starting point guard. Last year, he had the 39th best assist-to-turnover ratio at 2.8. That is better than exceptional playmakers such as the MVP Nikola Jokic, the assist champ runner-up James Harden, Damian Lillard, and Ben Simmons. Last season, the Celtics had a 10-2 record when Smart had at least 8 assists. And over the last 2 seasons, the Celtics are 16-2, an 89% win percentage, when Smart has more assists than field goal attempts. If this does not speak volumes as to what this team can be if Smart truly accepts his role as a non-shooter but rather a playmaker, then I'm not sure what does. But continuing the statistics, last year, the Celtics players shot 49% from the field and 44% from beyond the arc on passes from Marcus Smart, both of these numbers respectively being by far the best on the Boston Celtics. So while all this does truly make you think about what could be, it is a bit of a reality check as well. Yes, the Celtics have a great record when Smart has more assists than shot attempts, but it's only an 18-game sample across 2 seasons. I'm not worried about the sample size not translating to a larger scale. I'm worried about it ever reaching a larger scale in general. Marcus Smart has a tendency to not do what works, and can get caught up in statistical gain or heat checks. We all hope Marcus can develop a different mindset, but 8 years in, it just doesn't feel very likely that he changes the way that he acts. So this bears the question, can Marcus Smart be a part of the Boston Celtics team that is a true title contender? I would hope the answer is yes. If this team won a chip without him, it just wouldn't feel the same. But the Celtics need players that do truly accentuate the strengths of their superstar wing duo. And when it truly boils down to a game-to-game basis, I'm not 100% sure if Smart does that. But that is not to say that Smart isn't a good player. He's an excellent playmaker, one of the best guard defenders in the history of the NBA. His defensive versatility is virtually unmatched at his size. And this, coupled with his no-plays-off mindset, has created a perennial all-defensive team caliber player. So there is not much that we can say for sure when it comes to Marcus Smart, as he is as big a question mark as question marks get, even on a game-to-game basis. But one thing is for sure, he's a Boston Celtic at heart and always will be. It won't feel right with him on a different team, but that's the business. But I hope it works out. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your opinions on the future of Marcus Smart and the Boston Celtics are. Make sure to subscribe. Again, we're just 24 subscribers away from 1,000, so every single subscriber counts. I have a very long, planned out video scheduled as a 1,000 subscriber special, so make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to turn on that notification bell, as having consistent views from subscribers is extremely important to me. And like the video if you enjoyed. But most importantly, have a good one.